that when we just showed that hole in the sun, I think it was around. It came out around that time that hole appeared in the sun, man.
Mm-hmm. And then you just had oh my bad, go ahead.
Okay, no, I just had who?
We just had a monster X class solar flare hit 3 hours ago.
Right.
And it had the same depiction of the blue sun that Andre 3000 was talking about.
Right.
When I saw the publication for it.
Right.
So this can also be the inception point of trying to tell us about the blue star Kachina and things of that nature.
Right. So these people, these so-called elites, do you think that, they are allowed to do a certain amount of evil in the world, but whenever entities in a high dimension want to use them, they could take over them like a robot? So let's say we think because it came from Obama, it's something bad, or it came from Steven Spielberg, or Star Wars came from this one, it's something bad. But when these people who do a lot of evil things, but when it's time, when the ancestors or the spirits want to use them, they will use them for something good, and we have to look beyond the messenger into the message because it's coming from the higher ups. Do you think like these people are being controlled right now to do the bidding for us? It looks bad, but they're really doing the bidding for us. Do you think that's a possibility?
I believe so. You go to L's Holy and Jill, Revelations chapter 17. It tells you that the evil reptilian gave power to the beast, and the evil reptilian is also connected to the 200 fallen angels who are the cherubim. So when you talking about as far as who controls the energy extraction matrix,
right?
The Canaanite are the ones who control this whole system, and they're doing the bidding of a certain archonic figure and the archonic forces behind the scenes, or the unseen hand, or your so-called, black nobility. The best way I can explain it is when you watch the movie Cabin in the Woods. You had the elite, you had these puppeteers underground in that movie. In order for them to basically maintain rulership over the planet, they had to sacrifice a certain demographic of people in order to maintain the material plane, basically. So I actually think the same thing actually takes place in real time when you're talking about sacrificing. So this is why you have a lot of trafficking and a lot of people coming up missing, a lot of people coming up dead. When you're talking about these psychological operations, they have to implement that form of degradation on the planet in order.
Extra dimension. Wow, like I said, we're gonna be doing a lot of research after this, y'all. So what races are these people, the Riskians and this one and the Grays, are they brothers and sisters? Are there some that are like, I see some that are like blonde hair, blue eyes? You see these gray beings. Is that all fantasy, or are these like brothers and sisters up there when you talk about all these different groups?
Well, the vast majority of them are melanated. But you also got many different groups that that stem from them, because when you understand microbiology and genealogy, you get the recessive from the dominant. You don't get the dominant from the recessive. So all these extraterrestrial races are a derivative of the carbonated, melanated Anunnaki beings. So, like I said, you got some. Matter of fact, there's a video on my page. It was a guy who died, and he went into the ethers. And he was shown these beings. He said the great majority of them are black people, and they were the ones in control of the ones. It's kind of like when you look at the hieroglyphics in Samaria, or you look at the hieroglyphics in Egypt. When you had the cat head people, then you got the bird head people. He was saying that there's a lot of them that have the same configuration, and they got the humanoid animals, but they're all being galvanized by a certain group of black extraterrestrials.
I heard I was on Instagram, and on one of some Instagram posts was saying that the 90s movie about the cone heads. Remember the cone heads? They said that's actually based on a extraterrestrial group. Have you ever heard anything about that? The cone heads?
Yeah, they call the Sini tribe.
Sini?
The Sini tribe. You got the Sini tribe that lives inside the planet, and they're basically the police force of the Dayros, because the Dayros was grafted out of the Tayros. The Sini and the Tayro are basically the same thing. They just got two different nomenclature titles. So the Terror are actually the conehead beings, and that's Yaqub's mother, Jacob of the Bible. His mother was a conehead being.
Yaqub's mother was a conehead.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's why they call him the big head scientist.
Yeah, but his father also had a big, massive head. So when you look at those structures, those monolithic structures and stuff like that, when you look at the skulls, they show you with elongated skulls, and they show you with skulls that look like it had two brains inside of it. He comes from the Danakil tribe, his father. So his father amalgamated with a Terror woman, and that's how he was born.
Right, indeed. Wow. So wow, this is like, shout out to everybody listening. We got almost 3,000 people in the digital building right now. Today's not going to be a long show, y'all, because I got a Patreon interview with Dr. Phil Valentine tonight. So if you are a Patreon member, a new Dr. Phil Valentine interview. We're not going to do it live, but I will upload it late tonight. So by tomorrow morning, if you're a Patreon, and Phil's going to be talking about a lot of the current events as well. You know, Phil know a lot about, there's so many different angles to this and things going on all at once that gotta talk to a lot of people and see what's going on. So if you're a Patreon member, a new Phil Valentine video will be up by tomorrow morning or late tonight if you happen to be up late tonight. So that's why I did this show early, y'all. I usually don't do the shows early, but that's why I did the show early. And I definitely appreciate, I called the brother BDELL last minute, but I really appreciate, and I want to say this while the people see, I tell you this behind the scenes, your seriousness and your dedication to this work. You a younger brother, and I feel like you full of energy. You're a young bull, like how they used to call Meek Mill a young bull. You the young bull out here running wild. So I appreciate your young bull energy, and just keep it up, brother. So I want to give you the opportunity to be on the channel and deliver this message to the people. I guess I'm gonna take questions a little earlier than what I do. How to become a patron? You got to go to patreon.com/blackmagic363. What's your channel? Let's start out with that question. What's your channel, BDELL?
My channel is BD as in dog ELL1014, BDELL1014. It's the same as the nomenclature title at the bottom on the left.
BDELL1014. A lot of people, I see a couple of people, they're trying to criticize you, saying that your information is Dr. York information. I don't think there's nothing wrong with him studying Dr. York. I studied Bobby Hemmett. I studied Phil Valentine.
What I do is I study, as I call it, many people, a part of, the conscious community and stuff, they call it the science of circumology. You study all perspectives, and you get your own interpretation, and then that's how you receive, your own edification. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I do.
That's exactly what I do, brother. I study so many, as y'all see, I interview so many different people on the show, thousands of different perspectives, and I form my own perspective based on my internal studying and based on just conversating with other souls in this realm. And I think that's how you're supposed to do it. Let's get to the next question. Okay, somebody says, why do they keep saying Anunnaki is the bad guys?
The reason they say that Anunnakis are the bad guys, because it's kind of like the same concept when you look at these superhero movies, right? They make the superheroes are actually the bad people, the people who are coming back to revitalize the planet in a form of destruction. They're actually the good guys, because everything that was galvanized, because when you look at the inception point of the superheroes, they actually working with the governmental system. Superman, Batman, all these people. So it's the same concept. So the Anunnaki are actually, the so-called black people. So that also coincides with Thanos, because when you also break down the etymology of the word Anu, which is Elion, L, or Eli, his galactic name is Theos. Theos and Thanos is the same thing. So that's why I said the wrath of Anu is based on the new energies that's coming in to put the planet in the state of calamity, to where the planet is able to revitalize itself again, based on natural balance.
You answered my question. I was about to ask you, so who in mythology would Thanos be symbolic to? And you said Anu.
Yep, it's Anu. His galactic name is Theos. Theos.
And the whole philosophy, the mindset of Thanos cleaning the planet, that will be what Anu will want to do right now.
Exactly. That's why I said the UFOs are terraforming the atmosphere. So when it manipulates the magnetic field, it's able for that four-dimensional energy to come in right before you have that great solar flash. It's going to be happening.
Do you? I mean, have you seen UFOs? Number one, and if you do you attempt to communicate with them, my brother?
I've seen one before, but I've tried to, like they said that the only way you can really communicate with one is if you use like telepathic ability and stuff. But I tried my best to do something, it didn't work out for me. Yeah,
because that's
the UFO in my atmosphere around where I was living at one point in time on my way to work.
Indeed. Somebody is asking, where's this at? Where did it go? Did the Anunnaki create O positive / negative blood type?
I know the great majority, because I know that's connected to the original people. So I know that before the bloodlines and everything was tainted with genetic splicing and things of that nature, the inception point of that bloodline was all O negative and O positive.
Could BDELL speak on the return of Tiamat?
You should. Well, Tiamat is basically the return of Tiamat. Well, basically, when you're talking about the return of Tiamat, you were really talking about the planet going back into its original balance. So the original balance is based on the personification of the sun, which is the masculine energy, amalgamating with the mother energy, which is planet Earth. So when they're basically amalgamating together, that puts the planet right back in balance due to the solar radiation that's reconstructing everything, on the planet, because they know that we in the sun cycle, and the sun cycle is conducive to nature, and nature is conducive to natural law that coincides with the natural people of the planet. So that's what Tiamat is basically another term for planet Earth. It's the same
thing. Indeed. Next question: who are the Ritskians?
The Ritskians are another galactic name for the Anunnaki, and the word Rizq means to provide. And they come from, like I said, it's the 8th planet in the 19th galaxy. So a Rizkian is a person from planet Rizq, who is basically another term for the Anunnaki, because when you break down the etymological roots of the word Anunnaki, it means those sit by Anu to Ki. Ki means Kai. Kai means planet Earth. So when you look at the geometrical symbol inside the Freemasonic symbol, the G means Geo. Geo means Ki. So it's basically the geometrics of planet Earth. That's the mathematics behind it.
You said the Ritskians are from the 19th galaxy. What galaxy are we currently in right now? What's the number of our galaxy?
I think it's the 18th galaxy. This is the Earth zone.
This is the Earth zone, 18th galaxy. So tell me what else is popping with the 19th galaxy, because that seems to be very important with a lot of people. So what's happening in the 19th galaxy?
The 19th galaxy is really just like the bosom of Anu, but that's like the 7th dimension. That's where you're talking about your symbology of the heaven. That's where the heavens is at.
Oh, in the 19th galaxy. So do a lot of people go there when they pass away? Do they go back to the 19th galaxy?
I'm not sure. It depends. It depends on what your frequency is like. It depends if you don't have an encryption on your molecular structure or in your mental capacity, because a lot of people, I say a great majority of people, are trapped on this planet just based upon the frequency of their mind and the way they think and the way they conform to certain theological context, or if they conform to a certain program that's acclimated to the matrix system. So they're trapped on this magnetic field. So I don't know.
One of the things that people used to do to try to throw me off my quest for knowledge when I was young, I'm like 21, 22. A lot of people would say, well, how is that going to help you? That's one of the famous, how's that going to help now? How is that going to help? What's interesting is that this knowledge is not just to help you in this life, but it's also to prepare you for the afterlife. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, there's certain places you could go, or certain places you could get stuck if you're not on a certain frequency, like you say. So I think that's an important point to let people know. Like, yo, preparing for the afterlife, and that's something Brother Panic talks about, is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about that, preparing for the afterlife in this lifetime.
That's why it's imperative to to have some type of knowledge to about what's going on, because you have these things called the hexahedrons, the hexahedron cube of Saturn. So what it does is everything is galvanized by the subatomic particles. So it basically, everything they do in their system, it basically puts an encryption on your mental capacity, and it puts an encryption on who you are to where you're trapped in this physical body. So in order to deviate from the physical body to where you have access to galactic travel to where you can leave the firmament, you have to raise up your mental frequency. So this is why they say they don't want you to think outside the box, because the box material world, and the material world is galvanized by the Saturn moon matrix. So that, like I said, so when you think outside the box, because you have some type of intuitive knowledge, that's when you're able to deviate from this planet.
Indeed.
Off is based on the frequency of the mind.
Okay, all right, let's get to the next question. Once again, shout out to everybody. We got about 3,200 people. I got an early show today because I'm not going to be on here long. I got an interview with Dr. Valentine on my Patreon later, so we're going to do probably about 15 more minutes on here. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I will have the brother on again soon, so I appreciate the brother for coming on last minute. Let's get to the next question. Okay, do you know, somebody wants to know, who are the blue avians? Do you know who the blue avians are?
Yeah, I know the blue avians are. I think that's also connected to Hootie or Thoth or whatever, but I haven't really did any type of deep research on the blue avians. But the blue avians, that's where you get the hieroglyphic symbol of the bird of Tahuti. He's also connected to the blue avians.
Indeed. Somebody wants to know, what about God within us? It's a broad question. Yeah.
Well, the God within you is your life source, right? So, like I said, it's kind of like one of those things when you go to some theological context. You talking about Psalms 82 verse 6. It says that ye are gods. So ye are gods because we have the ability to create. We have the ability to create based upon the octave vibration of our voice, because our vocal cords is basically a direct emulation of a vagina, a yoni portal. So it's the same way how you can create with your voice box, you could also create through the portal of your vagina hole at the same time. So they both work in symbiotic connection. We're able to create just based upon, like I said, the frequency of our mind. You got to be tapped into the source within you. It's the same thing.
Indeed. Wow. What about, have you got into the study of, when you meditate a lot, people who practice Qigong, I know Wayne Chandler, they usually say to put your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Have you ever investigated that science and why people would say that, and what does that have to do? What does that do during meditation?
Well, I remember I think it was like my freshman year of college. I remember reading this book. They say that there's a ball underneath the roof of your mouth, and it's supposed to activate the Kundalini energy within you especially when you're doing tantric sex or yoga and stuff like that. When you're doing stuff like that, it activates a certain cymatic frequency to where the Kundalini energy travels up the spine and it goes into the third and fourth ventricle of the brain to where you can activate that God mind. So, I mean, I've never done it before. I've never, reaped the benefits of reaching that level, but, I've tried through meditation before.
So let me ask you this now. This Kundalini energy, and they say that the melanated man and woman is the Kundalini people of the planet. Do the Galactic Federation, do the extraterrestrials have this Kundalini energy? Or is this, everybody has this they have this Kundalini energy?
Not everybody.
Okay.
Because the reason I say that, you have a certain demographic of people on the planet. You get a transliteration of the Book of Revelations because the 1611 AD is a mistranslation. You go to Revelation 17:17, it tells you that the evil reptilian gave power to the beast. So you have a certain demographic of people that's connected to the Canaanite bloodline, the Amorite, the house of Labana. they're connected to the beast frequency because they have the same genetical sequence as animals. So when you have recessive genetics, right, you're not able to reap the benefits of a Kundalini activation because it's not acclimated to your endocrine system. Because that's why they stop at 33 degrees in Freemasonry, because the 33rd vertebrae is synonymous to the fifth. I think it's the fifth chakra or whatever. I think whatever is synonymous to the 33rd vertebrae, they cannot activate anything after the fifth sense. Because, like I said, for one, when you have recessive genetical properties, that basically puts an encryption on your heart chakra, because you have a certain demographic when they have their heart chakra, the thymus gland is depleted from anywhere from 7 to 13 years old. So the thymus gland is connected to the energy of the heart chakra. So it basically, when you don't have the thymus gland, it steals electrons from the from your source, your soul, because the heart is the seat of the soul.
Wow.
So when you don't have a soul, you don't have a symbiotic connection to the planet. So that's why everything they do in their system basically goes against nature, because they're not of nature.
Wow. Woo, there's some deep stuff, right, y'all? Yeah, there's some powerful stuff. I'm feeling the energy right now, y'all. Let's get to the next question. And there's plenty of them in the chat. Oh, you got the people going off. There's plenty of them in the chat. Somebody says, is there an Anunnaki presence in the South Pole?
I'm not sure, but I know there's an Anunnaki presence beyond the ice wall, and there's a door, there's a metaphysical door that's outside the ice wall, to where you're not able to breach the firmament. You have to be vibrating at a certain frequency in order to get through that fermented door. There's like an actual door beyond right in the Antarctica.
Like literally.
There's a door. Yeah. Where you have galactic ice. It's made of liquid nitrogen and things of that nature. So you're not able to infiltrate it. And because you have to have a certain molecular structure to even go inside that portal. Because it's kind of like the same thing how spaceships and airplanes, not airplanes, but spaceships, it needs to be coated with melanin for interstellar travel. So it's kind of like the same thing. So that's why you ever seen the movie Lovecraft Country, they needed the black woman in order to activate the portal.
Right.
So in order to activate certain portals, you need a certain genetical sequence. You need a certain people's genetics. This is why you have to wonder and ask the question, why you have so many black women come up missing on the planet so much.
Right.
Do they need these genetics to infiltrate the firmament? Because they trying to leave, they trying to escape calamity, because they know these fourth dimensional energies is coming in.
They got, because they tell us it's sex trafficking, but it's probably bigger than that. You're saying?
Oh yeah, it's most definitely, because they know that the black woman's stem cells, the frequency of her menstrual blood has a lot of stem cells, because the stem cells is what connects you to immortalized cell lines, to where the cells is able to replicate, infinity, like Henrietta Lacks and things of that nature.
Yes, so the black woman got the top technology on the planet.
Most definitely. Yep.
Powerful. Wow. All right, let's continue, man. Y'all, I know. Come on, y'all. Give it up tonight. I'm smiling because I'll be happy when I'm able to produce shit like this, y'all. When I bring, you know what I mean? I just follow my spirit. My spirit said, man, you got to get BDELL to break this shit down. I was like, I'm gonna call BDELL. I called you at like 11 o'clock last night or something like that.
Man, I was dead asleep because I work. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, I'm working. I work third shift and stuff, and I'm full-time dad. So you called me to crack a sleep. I was cool because I had to get up anyway. So it was cool.
All right. So yeah, I'm happy that this we were able to do this. Somebody wants to know, so when blacks mix their race, can their off seeds reach Kundalini? I guess biracial. I guess
yes, because the woman is already born with her potential children. It's inside the ovate cell. So the woman, you know, holds that frequency and that power. So it really doesn't matter if you amalgamate with a different race. If you deviate it out to a different race and you have mixed children, they're still able to reap the benefits of a certain metaphysical ability.
Next question. What is the best way to harness? You okay? You want to break, brother? You okay?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I just want to make. Sometime I'll be needing a water break sometime myself. And when you spin like how you spin, you may need a water break, my brother. So I want to make sure you good, my brother. I want to make sure you good.
I'm straight.
What is the best way to harness more Kundalini energy? They want to know.
Semen retention. Stop watching pornography. Because you, like I said, when you watch pornography, it steals electrons from the soul. Stop, listen to love music. You know what I'm saying? Listen to R&B music. You know what I'm saying? I understand how, the great majority of our people, we like to be entertained, but you also want to have a certain type of balance. Use that balance, listen to some neo soul music. If you want to, that's how you raise up your vibrational frequency, semen retention, and listen to some really good music. I go to sleep sometimes. I listen to jazz music. I have it playing lightly in the background while I'm sleeping, or I listen to some classical music because it helps create more neurons in the brain.
Let me ask you your thoughts on this. So I got a couple of brothers that came on here and was teaching telling the brothers to practice semen retention more. Wayne Chandler. I just had his brother Kulu, I think the brother name is you, as well as other brothers come on here and talk about the importance of semen retention. But what you notice is that the cultures or the groups or organizations that practice so-called, they say they practice semen retention, like let's say the Catholic priest or something, they end up being big time freaks. So it's like, does that shit drive you crazy if you don't let that shit out? Because these groups that be like, oh, we don't have sex, they end up being the biggest pedophiles on the planet. So it's like, is that you? Do you think that's a little dangerous not to let that shit out, brother?
It depends. But like I said, some people, that's based on who they are, based upon their genetical sequence. Some people are deviants by nature. So like I said, it's we didn't have all these things that was, manipulating us. We didn't have, the television networking system. We didn't have all this propagation and everything as far as the rap music and stuff and telling us to, lay with this one, lay with that one, or watch pornography. But as far as the Catholic priest, what I'm saying, I don't know,
Let's get to the next question. Shape-shifting. What's your thoughts on that, my brother? Shape-shifting.
Shape-shifting is very real. So this is why, like I said, when you have the UV radiation light spectrum, when it speeds up in vibration, what happens is it activates the spiritual eye, also the two physical eyes. So this is why, they want to hit people with the draconian juice or the Jabberwocky, because the Jabberwocky basically dematerializes the spiritual eye. So this is why, a lot of people, kind of like what Credo Mutwa said. Credo Mutwa said that you're able to, when you go into the fourth dimension, you will be able to see many different shapeshifters and entities. But that's why they want to hit you with Jabberwockies and draconian juice, because it shuts down the metaphysical eye. Because they know that when a planet speeds up in vibration, what I'm saying, it basically decimates the illusion.
Indeed. Okay.
So in order to keep you sleeping docile to where you're not able to decipher what's going on, that's what they do. They basically use the draconian juice in order to, combat that type of energy.
We're gonna do two more questions, then I gotta get out of here, family. Okay. What you think of free energy through Tesla's work?
It's a possibility, but like I said, he's kind of, in my opinion, I think he's one of those people that's like very neutral. I haven't really did any research on Nicholas Tesla's work, but I know that the inception point of his work was based upon the metaphysical essence of vortex mathematics, the 3, 6, and the 9. So that's the only thing I know about his work as far as like opening up portals and the key to the universe, which is basically man, woman, and child, the black man, the black woman, infinite energy. So I don't really haven't really did his any research on his information when it comes to free energy.
Okay. And let's get to one last question. Let me see. I'm trying to. Well, let's just ask this. They want to know. I'm seeing more comments than questions right now. They want to know what do you think about polygamous relationships? What's your thoughts on that, my brother?
Well, polygamy in itself is the inception point is based on a matriarchal energy, right? So that's how you build nations. Polygamy is really for nation building. It's not because you want to have some type of sexual proclivities or you have some type of sexual gratification that you want to embark on. So it's really meant for nation building. That's what the inception point of it, as far as polygamy is for. So if people did it the right way, we'd be able to combat, economic disenfranchisement and dehumanization that's being perpetuated by the system.
Let me just ask this other one. Damn, where's it at? Do you have any info on Ophiuchus or are you able to see that on the screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, yeah. Do you have any info on that? Ophiuchus or whatever that says?
No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't have info on that family. Let's see if we get yeah, we already talked about the for those who came in late, just to reiterate real quick, they want to know the 4 UFOs shot down and the 4 hazmat spills. What's your thoughts? Just to close it out, because we got about 3,500 people and a lot of them came in late. So
okay, well, as far as like the biochemical warfare, I told you the World War III is based on dematerializing the God mind. The war is with the mind. It's not really a war with your, so-called China and things of that nature. So they trying to create desolation and calamity on purpose. Because like I said, they know that God is the highest extension of the mind, which uses elements of matter to express itself, where you can manipulate the matrix system based upon your mental frequency. So now as far as the UFOs, like I said, there's a diametrical difference between a real UFO that's created by the oligarchs and the world governments. Then you have a UFO that's coming from different dimensions and different galaxies and